Welcome to Comcast Newsmakers. I'm Lesley Weidenbender. I'm here at the Indiana State House with Representative Jerry Torr. He's a Republican from Carmel. Welcome.
Glad to be here.
So you are the author of the mass transit bill for Central Indiana.
Yeah, I am.
Tell us what the bill does and why you think it matters.
The bill allows voters in Central Indiana, in a county that decides to do it, to vote in a referendum to decide whether or not they want to join a transit district, a regional transit district, and to decide whether or not they're willing to be taxed 0.3% on the local income tax in order to pay for the transit district.
Tell us about what that money would pay for.
Yeah, well, of course, that will all be determined by the Transit District Board. That's part of what the bill sets up. I came into this as a skeptic, really, but have become convinced that this is one of the next steps necessary to keep Indianapolis and the greater Indianapolis area a world-class city and continue growth and so forth. It would allow them to greatly expand the current Indigo bus service and expand it into Hamilton County and other surrounding counties. And also, long-range plan is potential light rail. The first would probably be from downtown Indianapolis up through Fishers to Noblesville, if the board decides to move in that direction.
So sometimes you hear a little skepticism about light rail in Indianapolis. Why do you think light rail is a good fit?
Well, you know, it's interesting. Light rail in places where it's been done well and where they've planned properly, it actually is a job creator. It brings new investment, and young people today look at the world differently. They don't necessarily want to be tied down with cars and so forth. So I'm really looking at the future 20, 30, 40 years down the road.
So there is a little more concern about this bill, I think, in the Senate maybe than in the House. How are you going to convince senators that this is a good idea?
Well, Senator Pat Miller is the lead sponsor in the Senate, and she's very much in favor, and so she'll do a good job with the members of the Senate. I'm working with some of them myself, but and the proponents, I mean, there are over 150 different groups, some of them private businesses, some of them not-for-profits, some of them business organizations and so forth, that have expressed support. And so I think when they hear the overwhelming testimony in committee, that will make a difference also.
The Senate has passed a bill to encourage the use of school resource officers. You're going to be the sponsor of that bill in the House. Why did you want to participate in that?
Well, you know, I'm very excited about that. And contrary to some popular opinion, that bill was actually processed before the tragic events in Newtown. Folks were looking at that well before that event. But I think it's just very important that we keep our children safe. Parents send their children off to school. The parents aren't there to watch over them. They're trusting somebody else to make sure their children are safe, and I just don't know what's more important to spend money on.
And we just have a few seconds, but I was wondering, do you support Governor Mike Pence's proposal to cut the income tax?
Well, naturally, I'm for cutting taxes whenever we have the opportunity to do it. I think it's prudent to wait till we see the April forecast, make sure that a tax cut is going to be sustainable. We don't want to end up like, what is it, Kansas, where they cut taxes and then just a year or two later had a shortfall and had to repeal it. We don't want to be in that situation.
Representative Torr, thank you so much for being with us. I'm Lesley Weidenbender with thestatehouseFile.com and Comcast Newsmakers.